What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first official episode of the Way Late Bloomers presents Mike at the Movies. If anybody didn't see my post about what we're doing, this is like a spin-off thing for me talking about movies that either mean a lot to me or certain films that I've seen that I just have to talk about. Anything big related, obviously, like Spider-Man, or we discussed it last night, the Batman, we'll probably do a podcast for. But I thought I would try something a little bit different for this one. I thought I would try the video format for YouTube just to see how it turned out. I'm playing with OBS and I've never used it before, so bear with me on this because I have no idea what I'm doing. So, I told the guys they are more than welcome to join me on this video format and or podcast anytime if they want to, any kind of movies they want to talk about. Obviously, the video will be for YouTube, and the audio I will be putting in a podcast format for anybody that listens to our regular Way Late Bloomers. But this segment is most of the time just going to be me talking about films, and hopefully that will pique some of your interest. So for the first episode, again, if no one saw our post, I'm going to be talking about 7 movies that I saw at this year's Sundance Film Festival, which again is not a lot of movies compared to what everybody else on YouTube and their brothers saw. I saw people who saw 20 to 30 some movies and was essentially almost the whole festival. Now, granted, there was some there are some movies that I wanted to see that I didn't get to with how I worked and how they had the schedule for the movies. So, but I did see 7, and you know me, anybody that knows me knows that I tried to seek out as many of the horror thriller ones as I could find. So I'm going to give a little bit of reviews for each movie. I'm going to do a ranking of all of them. And I'm going to tell you like what the release dates are, if they have one, and who distributed the film from Sundance. I'm going to try to keep this format somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes, which it might be a little bit harder for this one because there's 7 movies, but I'm going to try to keep it in that gap as best as I can. I don't really have much to say about the movies because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that wants to see them or anything like that. So, so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to talk about them as I'm ranking them. So I'll start out with number 7 and go all the way to the top. And please remember, just because one is number 7 didn't mean that I didn't like any of these movies. I thought all these movies were really interesting, and I am so happy that I was actually able to be a part of the film festival this year. So with that being said, guys, let's dive right into it here. I got some pictures formats here, if I can get them to come up. Where am I starting at? Oh my God, I forgot my ranking. There it is. Number 7, we're going to start with a movie called You Won't Be Alone. This was a really interesting movie. It was not what I was expecting at all. Now, when you go into these festivals, most of the time, they don't have a trailer, they don't have a poster. Most of the time, they just show you a picture, and you have a little description of what the movie is about. But this one did have a trailer, and this one did pique my interest. This is essentially a coming-of-age film about a witch, and it's very uniquely done. It's essentially this girl is, when she's born, is held in captivity from her mother to save her from this witch. And so as she's growing up, when she's a teenager, she escapes, and of course the witch gets a hold of her. And she becomes this witch, but she's able to live the life that she never got to live while being in captivity. So she experiences life from different people. Like she becomes a pregnant woman at one point. She becomes a child. She becomes a guy. She becomes a older person. And within all that, she just experiences all of life that she never got to experience while she was being held captive and all that. And while she has this witch that's following her around and all that stuff, and it's kind of the witch that you see is kind of, she has a tragic backstory of what happened to her, and she is the way that she is. This is a really slow movie. I can't see a lot of like modern audiences really being drawn into this as much as something, for example, like The Conjuring or something like that. I think this movie is for a particular set of people, and I don't think I'll ever rewatch this movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. It was shot beautifully. The cinematography on this movie is awesome. But I just don't see myself ever going back to this movie, it's not one that I could, take to the guys on a Friday night and be like, Joey, Spence, let's throw this movie on, because they would be like, what the fuck do you have me watching? So if this movie does pique your interest, I would say check out the trailer, because there's a couple of these movies that I was thinking about when I was doing it that I was like, I don't know how they're going to market these movies, because marketing can be a dangerous thing for a lot of movies. I mean, look at example like the movie It Comes at Night. Personally, I loved that movie. I thought it was a great movie. But a lot of the way it was marketed, a lot of people thought it was going to be a monster movie. And that was not the case at all. So it turned out not being that. So definitely check out the trailer for this one. But like I said, don't go in expecting a horror movie. It's more of a coming-of-age drama than it is anything else. And which is funny, because this movie had more blood and guts in it probably than any horror movie that I've seen in a while. So it's pretty interesting, especially human remains and animal remains and all that stuff. Saw all that stuff in this movie. But if this, like I said, I'm trying not to get too descriptive because I don't want to give anything away. But if any of this piqued y'all's interest, please definitely recommend checking out the trailer. So for my number 6, where is it? It is going to be a movie called Piggy. This was a last-minute movie. This is the movie that I watched. This was the final movie that I watched for the festival. And it was not intended. I was at work, and I kept hearing people's buzz about it and stuff, and they actually had a screening available for it. So I went on and bought a ticket and all that stuff. And yeah, this was apparently based on a short film. I've never seen the short film. I just know that it's essentially about this girl that is picked on for being overweight, and essentially she lives in this small town, and her family works at a meat not a department, but meat store, meat cutting store. I can't think of the name. The name is slipping me, but essentially, one day she tries to go to the pool, and the 3 girls that always pick on her are there, and there's a strange guy in the pool, and the guy ends up leaving. And, but he sees the girls picking on her, so they take her clothes and all that stuff, so she's having to walk home practically naked. And, so on her way home, she happens to see a van pulled over to the side of the road, and these 3, she happens to see the girls in the back of the van, or one of the girls in the back of the van. So this guy has, kidnapped these 3 girls, and, he sees her, and that's it. That just he kind of just nods at her and takes off. So she's kind of struggling throughout the movie to, determine what is the right thing to do, whether she should tell somebody or she should just say, nah, fuck it. You guys were assholes. And it is what it is. And then as time goes on, they start to piece stuff together. And eventually the kidnapper starts to kind of have feelings for her, I guess you could say. So again, I'm trying not to give too much away, but the ending of this movie feels right out of the 1974 original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's got that grindhouse, grimy, just dirty, real dirty feeling. I watched a lot of the Q&As after the movie was over, and even the director said that she was really inspired by movies like that and like those grindhouse style movies. So you can definitely see that for this. This is another movie I'm not sure if I'll ever watch again. Not because it wasn't good or anything like that, just because there's certain movies out there that I think I can do a one and done. This movie is also really bloody and brutal and stuff as well. Like it's funny because this list, you'll notice a trend of all these movies being either, full of blood and guts or something else. But yeah, I don't know if there is a trailer for this one. I can't remember. I know that the short film is on YouTube. You can check. I think the short film is the same name as the movie. But from what I saw, there's a lot of people that felt this movie was too stretched because there was really not enough meat to tell an entire story. It worked better as a short film, but I can't say for sure because I have not seen the short film. But it is on YouTube for anyone that's interested in checking it out. If this is another one that piques your interest, if there is a trailer out there, I would recommend trying to check out the trailer first just to see if this is a movie for you. Because again, I don't think this is going to be a movie that's going to be for everybody. Funny enough, that's quite a few of these movies that I did see. I don't think it's going to be for everybody, but I think if you're same with my number 8, You're Not Alone, I think that's what it was called. Or You Won't Be Alone. Yeah, that's it. Same with that one. I think that if you really love film, I think it's a movie that both of these are ones that deserve to be checked out and seen. Number 5 is a movie called Something in the Dirt. So this movie did not have a poster. So this is the only image. This is the only image I got at the film festival. That and a description of what the movie was about. And the description is about these two guys who own they're staying in essentially this condo complex, and one of their rooms is supposed to have all this paranormal activity going on, or starts to experience paranormal. But they actually start to document everything, and it turns into a lot more than what meets the eye. Like, it turns into this full-blown sci-fi movie, and a lot of like different theories with religion and things like that, and it kind of delves more into these guys' backstory. And it's a pretty interesting movie. This is one that I will definitely have to watch again. I caught this one. This is one of the ones I had to watch when I got off of work in the morning, so I had to hurry, come home, and then stay up and watch the movie before I could go to sleep. Because you have a limited window when the time starts, and the time started at night when I was at work, and I have until 10 a.m. the next day to watch it. So I had to hurry up and come home and watch it. And while I thought this movie was interesting, the reason I need to watch it again is because it kind of lost me halfway through. And I have not seen the other films from these two guys right here. They wrote, directed, edited, I think, the majority of this movie. I mean, they had a crew, but they did everything. But they've done other movies as well I've never seen. They've got another one. The name escapes my mind right now, that everyone talked about how great of a film that was. They actually had one come out last year, or 2019, called Synchronic, that had Anthony Mackie, that people said was really good. I have not seen that. And actually, these two guys, from what I saw, are doing the new Moon Knight show that's going to be on Disney Plus with Oscar Isaac and all that. The Marvel show, for anybody who doesn't know, which I thought was really cool. Because it's interesting for somebody like this that has such they've done all these small independent films, to go actually do a big budget show or movie. Because it's cool what independent filmmakers can bring to the table for something like that. So I think that's going to be really interesting. I do want to check out their other stuff. But yeah, this movie's based in California, and it's like I said, there's this whole thing, and it turns into all these different theories and things like that, and it's really hard to explain. It's one of those ones that you just have to watch it. It turns really bizarre and weird at certain points in the movie. And like I said, certain things started to be uncovered about the two of them and their family life and backstory and stuff like that. But they start to try to make this documentary out of them filming this so-called paranormal activity that's going on in their apartment. But I don't think there's no trailer. I don't know. Maybe there is a trailer. I can't remember if there is a trailer for this one or not. Yeah, I can't. It blanks on me if I saw a trailer for this one. But it is really interesting. I would recommend checking it out. This is one that I do really want to watch again, because it's one of those types of movies where I think you miss a ton of stuff the first time. And with me having no sleep and trying to get through this movie before the time limit ended, I know that I missed a lot of stuff. So this is one that I definitely would like to go back and rewatch, and hopefully pick up on all the little things that I missed. And I'm sure upon rewatch, it might become one of those movies where you start to piece stuff together as the movie goes, and you can be like, oh, okay. So I'm hoping that'll be the case for this movie. So check this movie out if you're a sci-fi person, because this movie is definitely more of a sci-fi movie than anything else. Same goes for if you're a fan of these two guys. like I said, I need to check out their other filmography, because they even said in their Q&A, said they make a lot of weird films and stuff that's not for everybody. So, but I am curious to check out their filmography based just on this. Plus, I'm very curious what they're going to do with the Moon Knight show. So, would recommend checking this one out for sure. My number 4 is a movie called Hatching. Now, this one does have a trailer, because I did check out the trailer for this one, and it intrigued the crap out of me. This is like a classic creature feature movie with a underlying tone, an underlying message of motherhood underneath it. Essentially, it's this girl. She's got this overbearing, like, perfectionist mom and she's a dancer, and essentially she finds this egg in the woods by her house and brings it home. And what happens is she's trying to nurture the egg and stuff like a mother would, and slowly the egg gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it finally hatches. And when it finally does hatch, it becomes like this bird creature. And I'm so happy about this movie because they use practical effects. Thank you. And the creature looks really, it's creepy, funny, and unique. Like, the creature is just, it's out there. But as the movie goes on, the creature slowly starts to take the shape of the daughter and becomes the daughter's doppelganger. So as that's going on, since the daughter is essentially this creature's mother, if anything like harm or she's made fun of or anything like that, that creature will seek them out and kill them. So the creature starts doing all this just gnarly stuff to all these people while she's trying to keep it together. And they said it was like an underlying message of motherhood, because the daughter treated the creature as more of a mother to the creature than her own mother was. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on with the mom where she's, sleeping around and cheating on her husband and stuff like that. So this was it's just so cool. I just love movies that do practical effects. It's beautifully shot. This is oh God, I can't think of the language. This was a Finland? Might be Finland. I can't remember. It's one of those, but it's really good. Like, if you want a good creature feature, I think like this one, it's really good. This is one that I think when I was watching it, I thought about Spencer, because Spencer is a huge creature feature guy. So this is one that I will definitely be picking up if it comes out my way. And, probably one that I would definitely show him, because I think he would get a kick out of this one. But like I said, don't want to give too much away. I'm just trying to give you guys a synopsis and trying to draw your interest in to be like, okay. So yeah, this one does have a trailer, so I would highly recommend checking this one out. Like I said, a lot of really great scenes in this one, really creepy scenes. And like I said, the stuff with the how they did some of the effects with like the egg and how they did the effects with the creature alone is just really cool. Just for that alone, I would highly recommend checking this one out for sure. My number 3 is a film called Fresh. This is one that, again, I had no intention when I was originally scrolling through my movie list that they had where you could pick from the movies. I didn't know what this was. I didn't know. The name Fresh didn't sound like a horror thing to me, so that's on me. That's why I didn't think anything about it. And then a few days of the festival passed, and I saw all these reviews just talking about this movie. And then I found out Sebastian Stan was in it, which I was like, okay, this is different. And then people's like, oh, it's like a horror thriller. And I was like, was Sebastian Stan? I was like, okay, all right, I'm in. But so this one didn't have a trailer, because I was like, okay, I'm sold on just Sebastian Stan and like this horror thriller movie. And then I saw 2 people's reviews for it, and I was sold. And when I went to look, they didn't have any screenings left, and I was pissed. And then I think the next day or so, I just happened to check again, and they had one screening left. So I immediately bought a ticket, and this film was so good. It's just really good. It's if you want to see Sebastian Stan do something different than he's never done before, it's just so cool. And the leading girl in it, Daisy Edgar Jones, is really, really good as well. But pretty much this movie starts out pretty much like a rom-com with these two. It's like, the girl's tired of she's tired of being on dating apps and meeting assholes or meeting these just nobodies where it's going to go nowhere. And then she just bumps into Sebastian Stan and they kind of hit it off. And I'll just say things go downhill from there. I know that they just released a trailer for this because it's getting ready to come out within a month. But I have not watched the trailer, so I don't want to give anything away. I don't know how much the trailer gives away. I know there's a lot of people that don't even watch trailers, so I don't want to say anything for anybody that don't watch trailers or anything like that. But it's pretty cool because this movie takes it's a full 20 to 30 minutes, I think, before the title card even comes up, which is a really cool choice. And it's really cool how this movie just plays out. Like I said, if you want to see Sebastian Stan play this almost just psychopathic character, it is so cool to see him do something like that. I know that show is on Hulu now, or with Pam and Tommy and all that, and people say he's really different. Than I've not watched the show, so I cannot speak for that per se. But yeah, this movie is really cool. Like I said, as you can see, probably based on the poster, that I'm sure that you can kind of put two and two together on what he does. But I don't want to be the one to spoil anything. So this movie was really good. Like I said, if you want to watch the trailer, definitely check it out. I don't know how much it gives away, but like I said, that's why I'm not saying anything about his character in particular other than he's crazy. And things do not go as planned, and this is definitely not a rom-com movie. So, yeah, I would really recommend checking this one out for sure. My number 2 is really, really love this film a lot. My number 2 is a movie called Resurrection that is starring Rebecca Hall, who I feel is a criminally underrated actress. She's one of my favorites, and I feel more people need to watch more of her films. She did a movie last year called The Night House that it's not Fox anymore. Searchlight Pictures put out. That movie was incredible. I absolutely loved that movie. So anything with her, I will definitely check out. Granted, I didn't have the best theater experience watching that movie, which you can hear in one of our latest podcast episode. But yeah, this movie, oh man, this movie was good. This movie alone has a 7 to 10 minute dialogue scene with just Rebecca Hall talking. And oh man, she just sells it. The whole scene is just this shot of her and her face and everything. And it just, man, she's just good. She's just really good. But essentially, this movie, I have to tiptoe around this, and this is going to sound weird because it's a strange movie, and this is going to be one of those movies where people, especially the ending, people's going to be like, "What the fuck was that?" But essentially, she's this. She's a mom. I think she's a therapist, if I remember correctly. She's a therapist, and she starts to see somebody from her past, which is played by Tim Roth. And she freaks out and has all these episodes, and she's trying to protect her daughter from Tim Roth. And as the movie progresses, you start to find out why, but at the same time, you question if this has really happened or if she's losing her mind. Because some of the stuff Tim Roth says, and then what she explains in that dialogue scene, you're like, what the fuck? You're like, this is interesting. I'm intrigued. I'm going to see where this goes from here. But there's a scene near the end where the both of them are in a hotel room. Good Lord. And it's just you're like, what? And then the way it ends, which obviously I'm not going to give away, it ends on this note of did that happen? Or it's one of those movies that if you took a group of people to go see, when it was over, you could stand out in the parking lot and have a 30 to 45 minute conversation about what happened, what you took away from the movie, what you thought the ending meant or what you thought all this leading up to all this meant. It's just one of those movies, and I love films that do that. But yeah, this is like I said, I'm trying to pick my words carefully because I don't want to give anything away. But essentially, her and Tim Roth have this past together, and it involves a child. That's all I'll say. But it doesn't go where you think it's going to go. Believe me, because in a million years, I never thought this would be the way that film went. But especially, like I said, the scene in the hotel room, I'm like, what the fuck? But, but definitely, I love this movie. I thought this movie was great. I cannot wait for people to see this movie, because I really want to see what the discussion of this movie is going to be. So, again, people sleep on Rebecca Hall a lot. I feel like a lot of people don't know about her movies and stuff, but she's a phenomenal actress. So I recommend more people see her stuff. Definitely check this movie out when it comes your way. This one's called, again, Resurrection. There's no poster and there's no trailer for this movie yet. There's nothing. So obviously that's why I had to use one of the still images that we got. This is the image we got from the festival. But definitely seek this one out for sure. And my number one, and this was the first film that I saw at the festival too. I did a lot of they called them the midnight panels or midnight releases or Festival After Dark. They called them something like Midnight Festival After Dark or something like that's what they called them. And this was the first movie I saw. This was the one that intrigued me when I first read the description about it and everything. And this one does have a trailer. Does it? I might be lying to you guys. I can't. I'm sorry, guys. It's been so long, I can't remember if this movie has a trailer or not. But it does have a poster. And that movie was called Speak No Evil. I absolutely loved this movie. It's the first movie I saw, and it didn't leave my mind while the whole festival. There's even parts now that I still think about that I'm like, wow. But essentially, this is about this couple that goes on vacation with their daughter. They meet this other couple who has a son who invites them back to their house. Or not back to their house, but after vacation is like, hey, they strike up a friendship and all that stuff on vacation. And once the vacation's over, they give them their address and all that stuff and says, hey, next time you guys want to go out of town or want somewhere to stay, you guys should come stay with us since we had such a great chemistry together. And we hit it off real well. Well, they do. And for somebody that has anxiety as bad as I do, the minute that they get to this house, you're on edge. You can just tell that something's not right. There's something off about the family. And especially their son. Their son doesn't speak. Hence the name. There's a reason behind that, but their son doesn't speak. And they try to explain he has this disorder. Or something wrong where he can't. There's something's damaged where he can't speak. But all I will say about this movie is it is for me, it was edge of your seat through the entire movie. Because like I said, I was so uncomfortable watching this movie. Because there's so much shit that happens where you're like, God, you just like I said, somebody just who has anxiety and can't even really stand, really, it bugs them to stand in a line and have people behind you. And you're just like, ugh. So having something like this, I could never ever go through something like this. I'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm out. But with that being said, I love the ending of this movie. Obviously, I'm not going to give it away. But the ending is a movie that takes chances, and it's a ending that a lot of movies don't do anymore. I will say it's not a good, it's a somber ending. It's one of those endings where I ended and I was like, wow, they really did that. They took the chance and ended it like that, which I thought was so fucking cool. And I'm so happy. It made that, to me, the ending solidified the whole movie. I was like, oh man, because it just, I was so happy that it didn't end in this cookie cutter, perfect bow, everything's good thing like a lot of movies do. Oh man, that made me so happy. Now, even the director of this movie in his Q&A said that he knows that a lot of people won't like this movie because it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable. It's meant to make you feel bleh towards a lot of things. And oh man, I was not one of those people. Yes, I was uncomfortable, but it just added to the experience for me. God, I love this movie. And I remember when I think it was a night or so after I saw it, there was a ton of articles coming out about people talking about this movie and stuff. But my takeaway of this movie is just how edge of your seat, how uncomfortable you are throughout the whole movie. How you know something's not, in the back of your mind, you just know something's not right. And you're worried for this family. And there's a particular pivotal moment where, again, I'm not going to give anything away, but where they get out of the house. They're like, his wife is like, yeah, we need to go. So they leave early in the morning. Something happens. Of course, they have to come back to the house and they get roped into staying again. And you're like, what? So, it's oh man, it's just so good. God, I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's not full blown horror, but it's definitely more of a psychological edge of your seat thriller. And it is, God, it's just so good. I can't speak enough praise for this movie. But yeah, definitely, for sure, seek this movie out. I can't, like I said, I cannot recommend this movie enough. It is so good. Okay, so that was my 7 films, and I'm going to go back through really fast and tell you guys who is distributing the movie and when they are coming out so you can find them. So obviously my number 8 was You Won't Be Alone. That was it. You're not going to be alone. I've screwed up this movie's title since I first saw it. But You Won't Be Alone is Focus Feature picked this movie up. Focus Features, yeah. They picked this movie up and it will be out on April 1st. Now, I don't know where. I don't know. It said nationwide, so I'm assuming that it will get a theatrical release. But where I live, I know like hell, this movie definitely won't play around here because it will not do well around my area at all. But I'm pretty sure it'll be just theaters as of right now. At least that's what I'm gathering from it. But again, this movie will not be for everybody. So make sure you guys know this is not a horror movie at all. This is a drama coming of age story. But check out the trailer if it intrigues you. Please, I would recommend to go see it if you do love films. I would recommend it. Again, my number 6 was Piggy. The only thing I could find where this movie was picked up by a studio called Filmax. That's all I know. There's no release date. There's nothing, so I don't know when this movie's coming out. All I can say is keep your eyes peeled for it if it sounded intriguing to you. Again, you can watch the short film right now on YouTube if you want that to hold you over until the movie comes out. But I could not find at all when this movie was coming out. So just keep an eye out for it. And yeah, that's another one I would recommend checking out if you love film. All right. And again, for number 5, we have Something in the Dirt. There's no poster, no trailer. There might be a trailer. I don't know how many times I've said that throughout this episode. There might not be a trailer. I don't know. Google it. YouTube it. This one, I don't think there was anything on this movie. No, there was nothing. There was no, it just says 2022. There's no studio that I know has backed it to pick it up yet. And there's no theatrical and or streaming release date. So all I know, it just said 2022. So if this one intrigued you, keep your eye out. Any of these movies that once I find something out, I'll post an update for this episode. I'll post it on our Facebook page or our Instagram, something like that, to let anybody know that is intrigued by this or any of these movies where they can check them out in the future. My number 4 again was Hatching. This one is going to come out on April 29th, and this one also said nationwide. There was no studio, so I don't know what studio picked it up. if a studio had picked it up yet. They might have a set release date and just hoping that a studio is going to pick it up, or they might be in negotiations for a particular studio at the moment. But yeah, April 29th, everybody can check out Hatching. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be streaming, if it's going to theaters or what. But again, I will keep everybody updated on what I find out. And number 3 is good old Fresh. Now, this one, obviously, as you can tell by the poster, this one I remember was being picked up by Searchlight Pictures. And the release date is March 4th. And obviously, you can stream it on Hulu. I think Hulu got I don't know if Hulu's not exclusive with Searchlight Pictures or anything like that, but definitely check this one out on Hulu. If you guys got Hulu, just throw it on and have just a good time with it. Like I said, this one's pretty unique and really good. I like I said, I can't say much because I don't want to give much away, especially if nobody's seen the trailer or don't watch trailers or anything like that. But yeah, Hulu, March 4th. Definitely check this one out. And my number 2, again, is Resurrection. Obviously, there's no poster. There's no trailer. I know for a fact there's no trailer to this. No trailer, no poster. All I know about this movie is that it is coming out through IFC Films. They are the distributor for this one. There is no release date. It just says 2022 again, but I cannot recommend this movie enough when it comes out. I'm not sure how they're going to market this movie because it's going to be interesting how they're going to market it because it's not a horror. It's definitely a psychological thriller. But I think this is going to be one, if they market it a certain way, people's going to go in expecting one thing and it's going to be the total opposite because this movie was not what I was expecting at all. I mean, I didn't know what to expect because, I was going based solely on a picture and a small description. So, but with that being said, because nothing prepared me for what happened in this movie. So, but yeah, it's just late 22. Again, I'll post updates whenever I find out something concrete. And of course, my number 1 is See No Evil. And this one will be out, it just said late 2022, but Shudder picked this one up. If no one knows what Shudder is, it is a streaming app. It's only $5 a month, and it's just endless horror. It's nothing but horror, thrillers, stuff like that. They've got classic horror, they've got slashers, giallo, all that stuff on there. Great documentaries on there too. Great documentaries. Highly recommend 1, 2 now called In Search of Darkness. There's part 1 and 2. And I think part 3 is being made, and they're like 4 hours long, and they're about these 80s slashers and all that stuff, and they're phenomenal. I think I've watched them 2 or 3 times now. They're just, God, they're so good. But anyway, this movie will be on Shudder. I think you can get a free trial as well. So even if you want to get the free trial, it's worth it just to check this movie out, and you might find more content on there that you'll love. I love Shudder. I've had it for the last 2 or 3 years. I need to use it more than I do, but they have a lot of great originals and all that stuff on there as well. But this one is definitely worth the $5 a month to check this movie out if you already don't have Shudder. So, cannot recommend this movie enough. I'm assuming my guess would probably be around September or October since it says late 2022. But again, once I know more, I will add updates to this video. All right, guys, that was my first episode of Mike at the Movies. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is just something I wanted to do to try to play around with it when we can't get certain content out. Like at the moment, Joey's in the middle of, he just started a new job, so he's in the middle of training. And Spencer's in the middle of his stuff right now with his work. So we can't really, it's hard for us to get together. But we have an idea planned for season 2, or we almost wrapped season 1 of the podcast. So we have an idea for season 2. We just need to do some test runs on it. So maybe that way we can get more content out to you guys quicker. I have one more episode left that needs to come out, but this will probably come out first before that episode. But I want to thank the guys for letting me do this. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't know if I'm just doing this for me, really, because I just love talking about movies, and I talk about movies to the point to where most people are just like, so, I figured this would be a good outlet for me to get that out with. But But if you guys don't know, we have an Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. I will post a link tree whenever this comes out in the description and on all the podcast platforms and all that. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google, Anchor, the lot. We're on there. Please come check us out. We obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have our gaming videos on there. We haven't done any in a while. It's been really backed up. We've been super busy. I'll probably also put this on my personal YouTube channel as well, because I kind of started that as a movie thing and it went really downhill. So I might put this one on not only the Way Late Bloomers page, but my personal YouTube page as well. So if any of you guys see this on my YouTube page, any of the subscribers that are still around, I thank you so much, and want to come over to see what we're doing now with the Way Late Bloomers, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate that. Please remember to like and subscribe on the videos and the content. Any of the podcasts you listen to, please leave a rating and review. That really helps us out a lot. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If movies and all that stuff is not your thing, I get it. And I know that doing this by myself is odd, because I don't have the same, obviously, camaraderie as I do with Joey and Spencer. So it's a lot more like, I'm terrified doing this by myself. I just thought I would try it to see how it went. There might be some more movies. There's going to be newer movies I want to talk about, some older movies and stuff like that. Just depends on how this does and if this series does well. Like I said, this is more of a spinoff from just what I'm doing with the guys. So yeah, but again, guys, if any of those movies pique your interest, or I hope I've sold you on some of them. Like I said, I couldn't really go much into detail about them because I didn't want to spoil anything. It's better for people to go in somewhat blind and have no idea. That's how pretty much I did for these movies, and I made them so much more enjoyable that way. So I don't want to give anything away, and I try to keep it at the bare minimum to just intrigue you guys. So, okay, guys, I'll see you guys hopefully be another one hopefully soon. So take care, guys. Until next time, I can't do what Joey does, but bye.